Hello YouTube, it's Ryan here with Hobbies of Man once again, and today we are doing another monthly ramble video. Today is the first video of the month after the TBR, and as always that's going to be a ramble video, which is just a conversation kind of starter kind of video, just talking about stuff that is kind of on my mind recently. So yeah, it's not going to be heavily edited. This is really off the top of my head. I haven't really planned it at all. I've just kind of been thinking about it the last couple of days, and I wanted to talk about it. So let's talk about music. So when I say music, I don't mean theme songs or normal music. I mean like soundtrack music, background music for shows and TV and video games, right? So and movies, right? So I actually had a topic that was a little bit more kind of meaningful, but I thought that I couldn't really do it justice in a ramble video because it would require a lot more planning, and that's not really what ramble videos are about. So I'm not gonna do that topic. So I decided to do this one because I was watching the new My Hero Academia movie the other day, and there's this kind of 3-minute sequence there where they had a song playing, and we got to see Deku and Rhodey, I think is his name, kind of frolicking around, right? And I was thinking about it, and it was like, the music in My Hero Academia is really forgettable, right? I have never kind of really thought about the music in My Hero Academia beyond the first opening and like 1 or 2 songs that I really liked in the OST, right? But I had realized that that's really kind of a sad thing, specifically for My Hero Academia, since it's a series that I really like, because I have seen a lot of TV shows and a lot of movies that I didn't really care for that had music that was really kind of captivating, right? So yeah, this is gonna be like a top 5 kind of list. I'm gonna talk about 5 maybe franchises or maybe specific songs that have really good music. And as an example of what I'm talking about, let's use the Imperial March, right? So the Imperial March is a song that is written by John Williams for Star Wars, and it is kind of like the epitome of like Star Wars music, right? Everyone knows what it is, everyone has heard it, and you know, a lot of people know the name of it. So that's kind of like what I'm talking about. It's a song that is part of a kind of musical score for a TV show or a movie or a video game. And it is one of my favorite songs, but it's kind of played out. I think it's there's better songs in the Star Wars kind of OSTs than that one. So it's not really a part of my top 5. It's just an example, right? So I do want you guys to share your music taste with me down in the comments. So let me know, what are your top 5 tracks and or musical scores that you really listen to on the regular, right? So I'm gonna try to keep it down to like 1 entry per franchise or something like that. I'm not really sure. I really just want to talk about music in general, and I thought a top 5 list would be really good, because that way I can touch on 5 different kind of songs or topics without it being too drawn out. So yeah, let's start with the 5th kind of favorite song that I can think of. So I would probably say that something from the Mandalorian would be kind of my 5th pick, right? Or something from Halo. Like, yeah, let's go with that. So my 5th pick out of my top 5 is probably the Halo theme, like the really orchestral kind of like operatic sounding song that we get to see, or that we get to hear in the opening theme, or like the opening kind of main menu of Halo, like that really kind of classic song that we get to hear. I really love it. I think it's really wonderful. It's so cool. It has such a vast kind of like far-reaching feel to it. I really like it because it kind of does fit this story of Halo, right? It's so like all-encompassing, so imaginative, and kind of going beyond just humanity. And I think that song kind of really fits. It has this very nice, like, large vibe to it that I think is really good. I also really like the Halo theme when it's part of the video game, and we get to see this like nice kind of like basic but very kind of rhythmic drum beat that goes with it. I like that aspect a lot. I think it's really good. Generally, just like, I'm not much of a video game person, but there's a few video games that I did play growing up, and Halo was one of them, right? And so the Halo theme song has always been like in my mind, and something that I kind of regularly go back and listen to. So I think that's my number 5. Moving on to number 4. This is kind of hard to do off the top of my head. So it's going to be kind of a little bit difficult, but I don't really want to use Star Wars up until like the top 2 because Star Wars is one of my favorites. So let's go with something different. I think Fairy Tale would be a good kind of a pick for here. Fairy Tale has a lot of actually really good music. The OST for it is actually quite wonderful. The composer did a really good job with that kind of like bardcore slash kind of metal, kind of very heavy electric guitar vibes that it has. I think it's really good. But there's kind of a few key songs that kind of pop out to me, right? The actual Fairy Tale theme song, of course, is quite good. I really love it. There's also kind of more themes related to Natsu that are quite good, like Salamander, which is one of the kind of early songs that we get to hear with Natsu. There's also 3 Dragon Slayers, which is the one that plays during the Grand Magic Games, where Natsu is fighting versus Sting and Rogue, if I remember correctly. And there's also Dragon Slayer, I think that's just the name of the song, which is not really Natsu's theme, but it always plays when Natsu's kind of around. So yeah, I mean, those are all really great, but they're not really the song that I really think about when I think of Fairy Tale. Well, I mean, the Fairy Tale theme song, obviously. But my favorite song from Fairy Tale is actually Urza's theme. No, sorry. My stupid accent came out. Urza's theme. I don't know why. It's just so beautiful. I really love the kind of operatic sound that it has. Again, this kind of like really like majestic vibe to it. It has this very wonderful kind of like feminine vibe to it, even though it is a very powerful kind of badass song. And I think it fits Urza really well. I really just love it. It's the Fairy Tale OST is actually one that I kind of listen to really regularly. And I always like try to get Urza's theme in first because it's like my favorite song. But like I just really love it. It's really good. But yeah, I don't know. There's quite a few other good songs, but there's also kind of a lot of songs in Fairy Tale that I don't really care for, like Gray's theme and Mystican's theme. I don't really care for them. I don't like Lucy's theme either. I mean, it's pretty cutesy and it does fit Lucy pretty well, but it's just kind of like not as cool as the really badass like guitar heavy bardcore that is the rest of the kind of music sense in Fairy Tale. So I don't really like it as much, but Fairy Tale in general has some really wonderful kind of musical background soundtrack to it. So yeah, let's move on to my 3rd favorite. And this one's kind of difficult. Again, it's kind of zeroing in, and I'm not too sure what to pick, right? So let me think about it a little bit. I'm trying to think of like my favorite things. And a lot of them actually don't have music that I really remember or care too much about. Like Avengers, there's like one song that I care about Avengers, and it's like the Portal song where everyone shows up. But I only remember that distinctly because the emotional kind of like kickback of that scene was really good. It wasn't really because the music itself was that great. So I don't really want to add Avengers into my list. So I think I'm gonna go with Jurassic Park. The Jurassic Park theme song, also by John Williams, is one of the most iconic pieces of music that I can think of that are like OSTs, right? So yeah, let's go with that. Yeah, I think that's a good choice. So yeah, the Jurassic Park theme song has this kind of really nice sense of wonder to it, kind of not so kind of majestic as something more heavily sci-fi, which is weird because Jurassic Park is pretty sci-fi. Like the kind of biological aspects of it are kind of pretty sci-fi, science forward, but Jurassic Park is more of a thriller kind of thing, so that kind of makes sense. But just the Jurassic Park theme itself is really good. It has this wonderful sense of wonder that kind of really matches the kind of tone of seeing dinosaurs alive after them being dead for 65 million years, right? So I think it's really, really good. I like it a lot. I think John Williams is definitely one of my favorite, musical directors, composers for OSTs. It's either him or Hans Zimmer, so I don't know, but I really, really like it. I think it's really, really good. So yeah, let's move on to number 2. Now this is going to be a two-way tie, I think, because there's a few kind of songs that I like a lot, or like musical scores. So the one I want to mention is Rising Fighting Spirit. That's a Naruto song. And holy crap, I just love that song so much. It's such an iconic like Naruto song. It's so cool. The drum beat is really wonderful, and it also sounds different from like regular Western drums. So it has this really cool vibe to it that is kind of like really, really interesting. And of course, it also has some vocalization, right? I'm pretty sure they go like "ho," like in the song, very kind of like classic Japanese like drummer sounds. I don't know. It's really, really interesting. I like it a lot. There's actually a lot of different good Naruto songs, like Kakuten, I think is one of Sasuke's songs, which is like the one that sounds Western. I really, really love that one. I think it's really, really good. It's wonderful. What's it called? There's also some other ones like Heavy Strike, Strong and Strike. What's the other one that's really good? I mean, the regular Naruto theme is really awesome, and Sadness and Sorrow is like top tier song. But generally, I think the one song that kind of shows up the most in my mind when I think of Naruto is definitely Rising Fighting Spirit. I like associate it with Naruto so much. Every time Naruto is like beat down and he's like doing his underdog thing, the song plays, and it's so badass. It's so wonderful. I really love that song a lot. So I have another song that I kind of want to talk about here in the number 2 spot, but for some reason I can't really remember it right now. So let me kind of sit down and ruminate a bit for it, and then I'll come back and kind of answer this, right? So okay, so I remembered, and the song that I'm thinking about is the really wonderful Pirates of the Caribbean song, He's a Pirate. It's just so fun. It has this kind of really like adventurous but fun vibe to it. I really like it. It has very nice tone to it. I don't know. It's such an iconic song too. Like just Johnny Depp, Jack Sparrow, and He's a Pirate just go together so well. I think it's one of my favorite songs to listen to, honestly. Not that I listen to it very often, but every time I manage to get a chance to listen to it, it's like a real treat because it's such a good song. I like it a lot, like a lot. But yeah, that's it for the top 4. So let's go one more. The first one, or my number 1 pick for favorite kind of OST song, and this is from Star Wars. So I know a lot of songs from Star Wars. I love the Star Wars soundtrack so much, at least up to the 6th movie. I don't really care about the Disney stuff, besides The Mandalorian. Like the Mandalorian theme song is pretty great, but that's not my favorite song. This might be kind of a weird pick because probably most people won't think about it, but my favorite song, like OST song, and my favorite song specifically from Star Wars is actually the love theme for Anakin and Padme, which is called Across the Stars. I think it's such a good song. It has such a beautiful kind of like loving sound to it, but it also kind of doesn't shy away from giving us some more of that kind of like darker side of Anakin Skywalker, and it kind of really plays up this kind of like light and dark sound to it that I really love. There's this kind of like break in the middle of the song where there's like heavy bass, and then it returns to this kind of light, woodwind kind of sound and some violins. And that's kind of like Anakin and Padme. And I love it so much. It's really good. It's one of my favorite songs. I definitely have this one on repeat pretty often. Yeah, it's my favorite song because I think it's kind of an underrated pick. No one really talks about the love theme, right? Everyone always talks about Imperial March or Duel of the Fates or kind of like Battle of Heroes, you know, the big kind of like meaningful, like Darth Vader, Darth Maul, Obi-Wan Kenobi kind of songs. And no one really ever talks about the love theme, Across the Stars, but it's such a good song. Like, seriously, if you don't listen to any of the songs that I mentioned today, go and check out Love Theme, because it's one of the best kind of songs in Star Wars. And I called it Love Theme. The song name is called Across the Stars, but in parentheses, it's called Love Theme, right? So it's really, really good. I love it a lot. I mean, there's a lot more kind of awesome songs in Star Wars, right? There's the throne room scene, where they have that really awesome kind of like parade march song that has a really cool sound to it. And of course, there's kind of stuff other than like the specific movies that are really good. Like some of the music in the Clone Wars is really wonderful. The clone theme is quite good. Some of the Mando songs from the Clone Commandos video game is pretty good. And of course, The Mandalorian has really great music. There's really no music in the sequel trilogy that I can remember that isn't kind of like a riff on the originals. So, I don't know. But generally, Star Wars is probably my favorite kind of like OST. And they always have really wonderful music. John Williams is insanely talented. So, yeah, that's it for me. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I don't know, this might not really appeal to anyone, but it's a video that I wanted to do because I thought it was an interesting topic. So let me know down in the comments what you guys kind of like in terms of your OSTs. What kind of songs do you guys really appreciate? Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and see you guys later.